Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I got a fitness-related question here that I'm going to answer. One that I've talked about a little bit, but is critical. I think a lot of people have asked a similar question to this or have wondered this before. And I've talked a little bit about how important diet is to losing weight or to making any kind of body transformation. But I haven't talked as much about, do you need to actually do exercise? You actually need to have physical movement to lose weight. So this question is from Giovanni. It says, "Hi John, as you seem very willing to share wise advice and seem also passionate and prepared on physical fitness, I'd like to ask you, for losing weight and getting a good BMI, that's body mass index, is eating less sufficient, or in addition to eating less, is it also fundamental to do physical exercise? I'm not interested in big muscle bodybuilding style results. I understand that you need heavy weightlifting. I'm talking of losing weight and getting good BMI. Thanks for the great content you share." So this is quite interesting. Actually, if you want to just lose weight, in fact, I actually advise this for a lot of the clients that I coach, is I tell them to not really do any physical exercise, or not really to start a physical exercise program until they lose the weight first. And there's a couple of reasons why I tell them this. So first of all, do you need to actually do physical exercise to lose weight? No, you don't. Primarily, losing weight is going to be 90% diet. It's going to be being in a calorie deficit. And yes, you are going to be hungry. I don't know of any time that I have been able to lose weight without being hungry. That's just how it is. But it doesn't have to be so bad. And hey, you know, you can ignore some hunger pains for a little bit, can't you? That's just the price of it. So if you are, the more overweight you are, the more fat that you have to lose, the easier it will be, and the easier that it will be to do that just from calorie restriction. Okay, like I said, I've said this many times before, but I usually run about 40 miles a week. I eat one meal a day, and I lift 3 times a week, about 2 hours per workout, and I can still get fat. I can still gain fat from eating just that one meal a day, even doing all that physical exercise. So think about it. If I'm running 40 miles a week and lifting for 6 hours intense per week, and I can still gain weight, and I have a pretty good size, pretty good amount of muscle, so I have a pretty good BMI already, that means that if you think that you're going to lose weight just by doing exercise and not watching the diet, it's ridiculous. And it goes to show you, the reason why I use that example is because it goes to show you how much of the equation diet is. I always say that diet is 90%, and I'm not kidding. From personal experience, from coaching people, I can tell you that diet is most important. So now let me talk a little bit about why I usually advise most of the people that I coach to actually just focus on diet and not add physical exercise. There's 2 reasons primarily. The first one has to do with compliance, right? So the most important thing with the diet, most diets actually work, right? Even some off-the-wall crazy diets, if you follow them, because most diets really have one thing in common, that is that they're really just calorie deficit, right? At the end of the day, that's what we're doing. So if you follow it and you can keep the calorie deficit, you are going to lose weight, whether you're drinking, what is it, red cabbage juice, or you're doing a keto diet or paleo diet, or whatever kind of diet that you're doing, you're pretty much going to lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. So, but compliance is the reason why people fail and why they fail off of diets. And we won't get into the whole rebound and relapse and regain right here in this video, but that happens as well. But let's just talk about compliance as far as losing weight. So basically, if I'm going to advise someone, I don't want them to make huge lifestyle changes. It's going to be really hard for them to have a calorie deficit and to follow a diet program. So I'm going to have them do something like, especially if I'm having them do like the 1 meal a day, is I'm just going to say, okay, here, we're going to do 1 meal a day. In fact, what I usually advise is to make it a little bit easier. Instead of doing just the 1 meal a day, around 2, 3 o'clock, you'll eat an apple. Right, I think Kinobody suggests the same thing. We've come to a lot of same conclusions on a lot of these things. Kind of funny that we both discovered these things, but they work, because I think we've both been in the pursuit of If you don't know who Kinobody is, by the way, I'll give you a link to his channel. I've had the chance to meet him a few times, Greg, and he's a pretty cool guy. But we came to a lot of the same conclusions because we're looking for the same kind of holy grail of what could we do, what could you maintain as a lifestyle to stay at low body fat and to be fit, to keep muscle. But anyway, what I will recommend a lot of times is basically just going to a 1 meal a day, and then breaking it up like 2, 3 o'clock. You can use an apple or something to hold you over. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that you're never going to add the physical exercise. I just want to make it so that you follow the program, or if you're doing some kind of calorie deficit diet, I want to make sure that you follow that, and we don't need to add the exercise right away, right? Okay? So if we add the exercise right away, then it's not, first of all, it's not going to be a huge impact, right? Especially if you're doing a minimal amount of exercise. Walking 30 minutes a day is not really going to impact very much. Even, like I said, running 40 miles a week, that, you know, I can still gain weight. So even at that level, so if you're not going to do something at that level, let's try to keep things as simple as possible. And then, so this brings me to the second reason. And the second reason is because we want to be able to have some more logs to throw on the fire when it starts to get difficult. So when you're losing weight, when you're really overweight, it's really easy to lose weight. All you have to do is restrict calories. It's not that hard. It's going to come off pretty easily. You're not going to require a lot of physical exercise in order to do that. But when you start to get stuck and we start to get to this point where the calorie restriction is not working as effectively, your metabolism will adjust. It does happen. Then we need to have something in our back pocket that we can utilize in order to get you down further. So that's where I usually have clients that I'm coaching, have them add some aerobic type of activities. And then here's the other thing about this. You know, I could probably go on about this, but I'll give you a few of the pieces of the psychology of what I use when I plan this out. But if you don't have a lot of muscle to preserve, I'm not interested in preserving. It's harder to preserve muscle, right? If you're just like overweight and you don't have a lot of muscle to start with, I'm not going to put you on any kind of lifting program. I'm not going to put you on any kind of running program. I'm going to try and get your weight down first, okay? And get rid of the fat so we don't have to worry about preserving muscle. Because if you have to worry about preserving muscle, then it becomes more complicated. Then macros matter more, right? All of these things. But if you're just trying to lose weight because you're just trying to lose fat and you don't have much muscle to start with, then the simplest thing to do is just restrict the calories and not worry about macros, right? It'll make it as simple as possible. But once you get to a point, then a lower point, then we can actually add some physical exercise, and running will be easier. There's a lot more options we have for cardio type of exercise or doing HIIT training, and we also have a lot more options for weightlifting because we can actually have a calorie surplus to some degree, or we don't have to restrict calories as much. So that's what it really comes down to. And then finally, like I said, what I'm trying to do with that, actually avoiding the exercise, is that I want to have something. So if you want to get down, it depends on what your goals are, but if you want to get down to low body fat, like below 10% body fat, we're going to eventually have to throw in that cardio in there. We're going to have to cut the calories even further. I want to do the minimal thing that is going to get you progress so that you keep on making progress, so that when you start to get stuck, I can add stuff. I can say, okay, well now let's start doing some cardio. Okay, now let's change this up a little bit and start doing some carb cycling. Okay, now let's start adding the weightlifting to it and things like that. So that's really my philosophy on it. And honestly, you know, from a lot of people that I've coached, my own personal experience, tons of research, you do not need physical exercise in order to lose weight. Now, with that said, I'll just say one last thing. If your goal is just to lose weight, right? I'm just giving you the answer to your goal. But if your goal is to get in shape, to improve cardiovascular health, right, longevity, things like that, you probably want some physical exercise. But again, you can tackle these things one at a time. You're going to have a easier time getting in cardiovascular shape when you don't have a huge amount of fat to roll around with while you're trying to run, right? I mean, that's going to make it more difficult to run. It's going to be more impactful on your joints. It's going to be more difficult. So I usually recommend, like I said, let's do the simplest thing. Let's do the most effective thing, which is if you're overweight, let's get your fat down, and let's do that by, my simplest plan, which is 1 meal a day. You can check out my videos on eating 1 meal a day, and you can check out all my fitness and diet videos here. I am still working on a program. Sometime I will release it that has my new program, which has been pretty effective. I actually have been making some tweaks, and I've been seeing some really effective things. As you can see, I'm getting more ripped again as I'm actually cutting carbs more and doing some experiments with this program. I will keep you updated. For now though, I will give the advice and answer some questions here on the channel, but once I have everything put together, it'll still be a little bit of time. I've got a lot of things on my plate, but I will eventually put out that fitness and diet program, so stay tuned. All right, if you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button below, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.